Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar.
Welcome to our first webinar.
Our first webinar, yes. So we're being quite ambitious today. We've got some live action filming. We've got a mixture of presentations, a lot of technology going on here today. So if there are any glitches, bear with us.
Pushing the boundaries of our knowledge, that's for sure.
Yeah, certainly are.
But anyway, so we're just waiting for a few more people to come in. Obviously, once we get a reasonable number in, we'll kick off.
Today's presentation is about, just to make sure you're in the right place, it's about making it as a hypnotherapist in 2014. I think it's fair to say that since we've been in practice, things have changed a lot, haven't they?
Yeah. It used to be dead easy, didn't it? We'd put up a website, put a few keywords in it, and you'd be number one, page one on Google every time. Now that's a whole different ballgame. And in fact, until very recently, until probably 2 or 3 years ago, that was still kind of the case.
Yeah. Well, things have really tightened up over the last couple of years. We've certainly been learning a lot. Just as well, before I mention it, before I forget, there's also an ebook that we've got for you.
Which is going to give you loads of information in there about how you can do all that we're going to talk about today for yourself.
That's it. So you don't need to take heaps of notes. There'll also be a replay of this video that we'll put up later on, so you can review it at your leisure. And together with the ebook, hopefully then you can just sit back and
get on with what you're doing.
Enjoy watching us make fools of ourselves in front of a camera,
which we're very good at doing.
Yes, well, we can do that without even thinking about it, making fools of ourselves. All right, so I think we've got enough.
But I think we should kick off.
We're
conscious of keeping you waiting, so let's start off.
So if you've got questions, you go along, type them in the chat box, and we'll pick them all up at the end. If there's time for questions, we'll begin to answer them at the end.
Sounds good.
Sound good? Okay. So today we're talking about making it as a hypnotherapist in 2014. So I think we should start with some introductions.
Yeah, indeed. My name's Paul Howard. I've been the marketing director for the National Council for Hypnotherapy, NCH, since 2006. I've been running my own practice in Surrey, which supports 3 full-time hypnotherapists since 2002, and that's been quite a challenge. But I also helped over 50. I look after about 50 hypnotherapist websites, and have done for many years, and so that's presented its own challenges and finding new ways to market them. Some even local to me, so it's quite interesting. But finding new ways to market them is something we've been doing for many years. And this is...
I'm Rob Woodgate. I've been a hypnotherapist. I trained in 2004, so I've been a hypnotherapist for 10 years this year. And I've also been part of the National Council for Hypnotherapy. I was the Hypnotherapy Journal editor for a number of years, and latterly the technology officer for the NCH as well. So part of our job together with marketing has been marketing the NCH. And we've worked together on a few projects, haven't we? You can see them on the slide there. Our Hypnotension product for high blood pressure, which aims to bring awareness of high blood pressure and the way that hypnotherapy can help it to a wider audience.
And I think probably at this stage we ought to mention really kind of the ethos we always go with, because I think that's really important here.
Absolutely.
Our problem has always been, we've looked at what's caused us a problem over the years with our practice, and really for most hypnotherapists the biggest problem is getting more clients. That's where we hear over and over again from people, and we've had the same problem over the years, and it doesn't stop yet. So, but I think really for us, we've noticed that the hypnotherapy profession is completely marginalised. And if you look at the number of people, if you asked 100 people, what's the best thing for helping people with anxiety, or what sort of techniques are to help people with anxiety, you'd probably find very few would mention hypnotherapy. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, that's right. We've looked at in everything that we've done together has been about promoting the profession and bringing it more into the public's awareness. I think that's really our mission, isn't it?
We've looked at what causes us pain, and we've had to solve that problem, and that's what we're trying to do all the way with our work with the NCH, and when I work with other hypnotherapists, and what you do with all people, is to solve that problem. And that's what we believe. We believe it's a very effective profession. It's very effective what it does, provided people are well trained. it can move mountains. Unbelievable. You all know this. It's nothing new to you guys.
Yeah, as long as people hear about it, and I think that's really the challenge going forward now in 2014 onwards. And we'll discuss more about these things as we go through.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go on to our first slide. We want to start with a question, and we kind of probably alluded to this in the introduction, but hey, that's live webinar for you. What's your biggest concern about being in practice?
Well, we already stated what ours was.
Yeah, we told you what ours was. Maybe pop some in the chat box. Let us know what your biggest concern is. That would be really useful. Our biggest concern, and if you answered keeping your diary full, then you're probably not alone. I think it's something we've all faced.
I would say definitely it's a problem that every hypnotherapist I come across has. I've never met a hypnotherapist, and I really haven't met a hypnotherapist who says, I don't need any more clients, unless they're retired.
Well, I think the problem with hypnotherapy is by nature of the service that we deliver.
Yeah.
It's a brief therapy, isn't it?
It is indeed. So most clients are seeing anywhere between 3 and 6 times, maybe less even, some smoking, for instance, 1 or 2. Yeah. And therefore you need this steady stream of new clients coming into the business.
Yeah. And of course, if you're only good at your job, you can tend to process them faster. That's right. So the better you are, the harder it is to keep that diary full, I think.
I would agree. Yeah, and I think that's a perpetual problem. It's never going to change. It's always going to be that way.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest problems that we've certainly faced, especially smokers are a case apart, really. Yeah. They'll tend to tell people how great it is that they stop smoking, but for most mainstream problems, things like anxiety, depression, some even phobias,
and insomnia, even insomnia, they won't talk about. It's very rare. They might talk about insomnia a bit more. But
that's right. People just don't want to talk about the problem. even when they've solved the problem.
Yeah.
They don't often want to go and tell people they had a problem. It's almost like a sign of weakness, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I think that they like to think that but believe that they've solved the problem by themselves without any help. And I know as hypnotherapists we want to empower them to believe that, but it's a two-edged sword. By doing that, of course, they disregard the hypnotherapy, and
that doesn't help the word of mouth referrals.
Exactly.
Of course, we all get them.
Yeah.
But I don't think, certainly we don't believe we get the volume of word of mouth referrals that you'd hope for in any other industry.
No.
Because people don't tend to talk about their problems.
Even after 10 years of practice, I'm still getting around 30% referrals, and that's about it, which means 70% of it has to be new clients coming through the door. So
getting new clients and keeping your diary full, certainly in our experience, is one of the biggest challenges of being a hypnotherapist and being in this profession. And let's face it, unless you're Paul McKenna, you're unlikely to get massive media attention in your area.
Yeah, and you're not liable to have the budget to actually go out and get full-page adverts. Not that we think they work anyway nowadays, but even any sort of TV or radio advertising is extremely expensive, and although very powerful, really beyond the reach of most hypnotherapists, I would say. Certainly me. I can answer that.
So. Hopefully, you'll agree with us if you've been in practice any time that being proactive in your marketing, it's where it's at. You've got to be proactive. If you don't get out there and market yourself, it's not going to happen. And I think that's where most hypnotherapists fall down.
Yeah, when we train new students, we actually take these brand new people. They're full of passion. They're excited. They really want to help people, and that wanes after a little while. Perhaps they put up a great website and they tell all their friends go to it, so they see all the old links, the hits rising, and even Google gives them a honeymoon period where your website will be high when you start.
Yeah, well, it's testing you out.
And then you go, and then the phone stops ringing.
Yeah, we call it Field of Dreams marketing.
Yeah, indeed,
remember the film Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. Well, I think it's true to say that in hypnotherapy you build it and they won't come unless you market proactively. I think that's
without a doubt. And interesting, I was reading something the other day about someone claiming to advise hypnotherapists on how to market effectively, and they tell him to go and put leaflets through doors. And we just know that doesn't work anymore. Not in this day and age, or not effectively anyway.
No, I think you'll pick up a certain amount, but certainly not the level.
No. that you need.
That you need, and you'd have to be leafleting day in, day out, week in, week out to keep the wheels spinning, keep being proactive, to keep bringing yourself to the market's attention. So, and of course, as I've just popped on the new slide there, there's that nagging down the back of your mind, isn't there?
Yeah, because when the phone stops ringing, you start to go, oh, I'm only good, it's because I'm rubbish, or,
Because if you were any good, surely the phone would ring all by itself.
Indeed. But as we said,
I think it's a common trap that we tend to fall into.
But we know it just doesn't happen. We know every hypnotherapist goes through that really with their lean times, and we still do now, 10 years on.
Yeah.
If we stop doing the marketing, it's a point of fact. When you stop doing the marketing, you just see your calls just dropping off.
Yeah, everything just dries up.
Yeah, and it's something that's important you've got to be able to do.
Yeah. But if you don't do it, you end up feeling anxious and frustrated, and it can really knock your confidence, can't it?
Yeah, because basically, bear in mind also, you're a hypnotherapist. You're not a marketing person. You're not a marketing machine. Majority of hypnotherapists haven't got a clue when it comes to marketing. So you just feel adrift, don't you? Like wandering through an abyss, not knowing which way to go. It's very frustrating and difficult, I think, for most hypnotherapists.
Yeah, I agree. And and at the end of the day, you think, well, all I want to do is help people.
Yeah.
Why won't they come and be helped? But so that's the point. The key takeaway there is, the marketing never stops.
No, it's constant. I mean, when you first start, what percentage of time should you be doing your marketing? What percentage, when you first start, you've got no clients, how much percentage of your time should be spent on marketing? Think about it. You've got no clients. It's got to be 100%.
Yeah.
And even now, to this day, I'm supporting 3 therapists, but I still spend probably 40% of my time marketing.
Yeah, in order to fill the diary for your clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
For your therapists. Yeah, it's true.
It's a lesson to be learned. You have to put some time aside to do this. Now, we're going to show you some good ways to do it that probably hopefully fit into your scheme and you can do quite easily. But more about that in a little while.
Because if you don't do it, and this is the key thing, this is where hypnotherapists, the hypnotherapists either go one of two ways, don't they? They either overwork and burn out, or they underwork and they suffer this problem of, am I really any good at this?
Yeah.
And they get to the point where, the bills are piling up. They're wondering if they have to go back to their old job, or whether they're going to be able to quit the old job and make a full-time fist of being a hypnotherapist.
Indeed.
And then it gets really hard to sit and listen to people's problems, doesn't it?
Yeah. You're saying, yourself, how are you going to do it?
And you're sat there thinking, I have got these bills to pay. I don't want to listen to your problems. No. So it can, if you don't get the balance right, and get the marketing, keep proactive with the marketing, it can be the end of, it can be the end of you. So we're going to talk about how you can do that.
Yeah.
Going forward today.
Yeah.
All right, let's skip forward on this line. Something you've concentrated on a lot with your, we've concentrated on our practice, but also because you've been looking after a lot of hypnotherapists.
Yes.
SEO, search engine optimization, has been a big part of that in the past.
Yeah, it has indeed. And now, we'll cover that in a minute maybe, but it used to be so much easier than it did now. But you used to have that skill. So people came to me because I had that skill and they didn't.
Yeah.
But now that's completely changed.
Yeah, it's always been, as we said on the slide there, it's always been something of a black art, really, hasn't it?
Oh yeah,
I tweak this,
adjust
do
it,
that,
and it's state of flux all the time because Google makes changes, and then you have to make changes, and I have to go through 50 websites to make those changes, and
get the right balance of the right density of keywords.
Yeah.
But not too many.
Yeah, too much you get penalised.
Too little you don't rank. It's been a bit of a problem. And of course, the thing we've noticed over the last couple of years is that Google has really started tightening up on its policies.
Very much so, yeah.
And really started changing. And now, always, if you got it wrong, you get a penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now, things that were good before are now starting to attract penalties. And we're seeing a lot of that, aren't we?
Yeah, well, I had a site that had done some things way back, probably 4 or 5 years ago, which, to be honest, I completely forgot, and were kosher at the time. They were
acceptable practice.
Acceptable practice. They were in the guidelines. Now they're not in the guidelines, and that website got taken out of the index completely. And the phone just stopped ringing. Yeah, completely and utterly. And it's taken.
And you just get a blanket email, a bog standard email from Google that says a manual action has been applied to your site. go figure out what was wrong.
Well, to be honest, if your site wasn't set up right and you weren't in Webmaster Tools, you wouldn't even get that.
No.
And you wouldn't even know. You just wouldn't be in the index anymore.
So search engine optimization is a really dicey subject. It has been for a long time, but it's where traditionally people are focused.
Yeah, it is. But nowadays, everyone's getting emails through their letterbox, through their inbox, saying we can put you on the first page of Google, we can do this, we can do that.
If I had £1 for every time someone phoned or emailed saying they could put me on the front page of Google, I wouldn't even need to do hypnotherapy.
No, indeed.
I'd be sailing around the Caribbean, I think.
But worse than that, I've got some clients, some hypnotherapy clients who have, sorry, not hypnotherapy clients, hypnotherapy students that are now practicing, that have actually gone to these search engine optimization experts and have paid the price. And because you've no idea what they're doing. You have no idea what they're doing for your site. You just don't see it. And what they can do is they can use tactics that will put you on the first page for a short period of time until
they've got your money.
Yeah, and they've gone. And they've said, "Oh, we've done this. You're on the first page. Thank you very much. Bye bye." And then Google goes slap, and you're out.
Yeah,
and forget it.
So. I think it's fair to say over the last couple of years we've come to one big conclusion, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah, shall I pop the slide?
Why not?
All right. SEO is dead.
Yeah, I think that's certainly, as far as we're concerned now, we do keep the keywords in there and such like, and we do work keywords, but in the main, that's not where your rankings are going to come from.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the big message that we've seen coming out of Google from the likes of their web spam team, they put out regular videos, don't they? The guy Matt Cutts puts out regular videos trying to help people to stay within Google's policies, and it's getting to the point now where they're kind of saying that any attempt to manipulate search engine rankings is being evil.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. And by definition, really, SEO or search engine optimization means you're manipulating your website to increase its ranking.
That's right. You're trying to do something with the intent of getting a better ranking. And Google are now saying that's just not acceptable.
Absolutely. And I think that's an interesting stance.
It is.
Where it's going to end, I don't know. But there is one thing that has remained constant, of course, which is what we're going to be talking about today, that we know works.
Yeah.
And but for the point of argument, I think really, and this is kind of in a way a good thing, because if SEO is dead, then you as hypnotherapists don't need to know the black art.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's
actually,
a good thing.
there are other things we can do.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to be talking about today. While everyone else is chasing SEO, we've got some things, certainly from our experience of learning in our AuthorMate project, that we can begin to put some of these things into practice, and you can begin to put some of these things into practice to help yourself going forward.
Yeah.
But in order to sort of get to the nub of what to do, we kind of need to preface that, I think, with the why we're doing it and who we're doing it to. Yeah.
So
absolutely. So
let's find ourselves on here.
Onto the next slide. In our marketing now, we're really starting to define people into two categories, aren't we?
Yeah.
We've got clients who are solution aware.
When we say clients, we mean the general public.
General public, yeah. When we say people who are looking, who we're trying to attract as a client.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so members of the public that we're trying to attract into our hypnotherapy businesses. We've got two main types of client that we determine now. We've got solution aware people and we've got problem aware people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your solution-aware person knows about hypnotherapy. They're going to be doing a search for hypnotherapy for anxiety or something like that.
That's right. Yeah, they already know the value of hypnotherapy. They already know that they want that as their solution. And what they're doing is they're actually looking for they're looking for a hypnotherapist, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're looking to choose a hypnotherapist, and so they're searching for in Google for things like hypnotherapy in my town, hypnotherapy London, hypnotherapy Brighton, and they're doing those kind of searches in order to find a specific practitioner maybe, or to enable them to find a number of practitioners so they can choose one.
Yes, indeed. And that job is done very well by people like the NCH and stuff that actually produce a list of hypnotherapists in your area. So you want to be on that. That's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But those solution-aware people is a small minority. I mean, very small.
We'll talk about that more in a minute.
Fine, okay.
But it is where most hypnotherapists in practice focus, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah.
It's where most of us are going, and we're all fighting, or in a lot of hypnotherapists are fighting over
the scraps at the table.
Scraps at the table, the hypnotherapy Londons. Everyone's trying to get that good ranking. But as we'll see in a minute, that is really the scraps under the table. So that's Solution Aware People, and on the slide you can see there, I've pulled up a Google search for Hypnotherapy London. You can see there's some good AdWords. People are paying money. The therapylounge.com there, and City Hypnosis, Horizon Hypnotherapy, they're paying money for Google AdWords to be at the top of those.
And to be on that one, that's probably going to be, every time someone clicks on that, you're probably looking around £2.50 cost. Every time someone clicks, around that, maybe more.
Certainly for a big city like London, Hypnotherapy London, that would be quite an expensive cost per click. So they're Solution-aware people. They know what hypnotherapy is about. They know that they want hypnotherapy as a treatment, and they're just looking to find a practitioner that's local to them, that they can trust, and all the rest of it.
But I think it's important to say that, of course, they are in the minority by far.
Right. Well, we'll cover that again in a moment. But for now, the next slide, the second category of people that we talk about are problem-aware people.
Yeah, they're so important.
Yeah, these are really where it's at. And in fact, we said right at the beginning about our mission being to help bring hypnotherapy to more people. This is where we really focused.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, if you look at hypnotension, for instance, I mean, before we started hypnotension, very few people were really using hypnotherapy to resolve high blood pressure.
Yeah, in fact, hypnotherapy wasn't really on the radar. It was resigned to the most out-of-date, arcane academic textbooks on hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at references for high blood pressure in our research that we've done over the last 10 years on this. It's something that we've kind of focused on. The modern textbooks really don't cover it in any detail. It's something that really sort of fell off the radar as high blood pressure became medicalised.
It became very easy now. It's just pop a pill.
Well, that's right,
It made life easy for everyone.
Because that's what everyone ultimately wants, isn't it? Everyone wants a magic pill.
They do indeed. But interestingly, that was a case in point. When I started doing hypnotherapy for high blood pressure, just in my practice, I was #1 on the first page of Google for the word hypnotherapy for high blood pressure, for that key phrase. And that just showed there was just no one out there. There was no competition at all, which made it really easy. But of course, the problem aware, which is what we're talking about here, are the people who don't know about hypnotherapy. So they're going to be searching for high blood pressure, and that's right. where we focus.
So the problem aware people are people who know they have a problem, but they have no idea that hypnotherapy can help them.
No. Absolutely none whatsoever.
So they're either searching for information on the condition. Maybe they've been to their doctor and the doctor said you've got high blood pressure, or you've got anxiety, or you're depressed. Here's some medication. But so they're either coming out to look on information and say, well, what is this thing that I've been diagnosed with? Or they're looking for, well, what am I going to do about this?
How can I fix it? How can I fix it? I don't want to take antidepressants for the rest of my life, and so they're searching for that solution and for the problem they they have.
So they're not actually, hypnotherapy is not on their radar at all.
No.
But so the kind of keywords they might be searching things like how to stop smoking, anxiety treatment, weight loss classes, high blood pressure cure.
Or lowering blood pressure. Or
lower my blood pressure naturally. They'll be searching for those kind of information problem focused keywords.
And that's really important. And that's quite difficult for most people. If you look at most hypnotherapist websites, their web pages are focusing on the solution-aware people, not these problem-aware.
So, in our experience, fewer hypnotherapists are focusing on these problem-aware people. But actually, as we'll see in a minute, in our experience, it's the vast majority of people. As we said at the beginning, hypnotherapy is kind of marginalised, isn't it? And it's kind of beholden on us all, really, to focus on these problem-aware people and help them recognise that it's an option.
I mean, we've got thousands of hypnotherapists in the country. If we're all out there promoting solutions to the problem, and the solution is, of course, hypnotherapy, then we're all going to get a great big benefit from it. And that's the point.
But the thing is, it requires a slight shift in focus. Rather than focusing on those hypnotherapy-related keywords, it relies on focusing on a broader set. Now, on the slide here, some people have got it. If you look at it, the Harley Street Stop Smoking Clinic which is a hypnotherapy based. They've got it. They're problem aware. They're advertising there, but then the next two are, they're not hypnotherapists. No. There's a pharmacy and a Nicorette. Then the next results are NHS Choices, NHS, and so it goes on. There is a hypnotherapy outfit advertising
and paying for it,
that.
Yeah.
But actually, it's not. It's not dominated by hypnotherapists, and I think that's kind of where we need to be going.
Yeah, that's where we're going, right? And I think, as you'll see as this goes on, we think we got a way for you to do it. It's free, and if we all do it, we can really achieve some great stuff in the profession. All right, let's crack through, because we've kind of alluded to this a great deal. I've nearly let the cat out of the bag several times.
I know. You'd be useless at Christmas and Christmas presents.
Yeah, I'm not good.
So the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, says that 20% of the effort that you put in produces 80% of your benefit.
Return.
So applied to these problem and solution aware people, I've got a graph here I'm going to show you. This is a screenshot taken from Google Trends. And although Google don't give you absolute search numbers, they give you sort of relative numbers. You can see here that the problem focused keyword there, how to stop smoking, versus the solution focused keyword, stop smoking hypnotherapy. The problem focused keyword has 10 times more searches.
And I think that's the tip of the iceberg, but I think a lot of other problems it's far, far higher than that.
Well, that's right. I mean, stopping smoking is one of the things that hypnotherapy is best known for.
Yeah, indeed.
And yet still, 10 times more people are searching for general problem-aware keywords than they are for hypnotherapy as a solution.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's so important as we go forward with this, that people understand that. And I say, if you look at anxiety, I don't know if we've got any slides on the anxiety, I'm not sure we have.
Funnily enough, I have produced a slide on anxiety.
So it's 15 times.
Yeah, so in this case you can see, and look at the difference in the graph there. Hypnotherapy is bumping along, hypnotherapy for anxiety bumping along the bottom, and anxiety in the trends well up there. I mean, it's 15 times was the conservative. I picked the low spot to the high spot for hypnotherapy. It's probably more like 20 times at those peak points.
Let's put that into some kind of perspective. If, say, you're a hypnotherapist currently and you're seeing 3 clients a week, you would be getting, if you're in the same place on the problem-aware ranking.
Yeah, well, you'd be full up. Your diary would be completely full. But obviously, with these people, you're never going to convert all of them.
No, but you should convert the same percentage.
But if you could convert a percentage,
yeah,
absolutely.
People will talk about hypnotherapy having a 6-figure salary. If you can achieve this, that is a possibility.
Well, it certainly becomes more of a possibility than fighting over the scraps of people who already want hypnotherapy. And I think actually, and this is what we were saying at the beginning, and this is where our mission really rings in.
Yeah.
Is if we're all beginning to address the problem-aware people and help to educate people, then we actually give the profession something really good. We're all contributing to a greater whole.
Yeah, and I think we all benefit. It's the old push-pull principle, isn't it? That we need to, if everyone works together to push problem-aware people towards hypnotherapy, people into your site might not be in your area, they might not go to you, but if we're all pushing it, then all around the country, in fact around the world, we get a benefit.
That's right. I mean, we're big fans of sailing, aren't we? There's a sailing term that a rising tide raises all ships.
Indeed, and that's the whole point. If we build that groundswell of problem-aware people becoming solution-aware, then we're away. We'll all do much better.
So that's really one of the key takeaways for this webinar is to have a think about the keywords that you're currently searching on and to see whether there's scope for introducing a more problem-aware focus. And we've got a really great way that you can do that, haven't we?
Yeah, indeed.
Should we go on to the next slide and see where we go with it? Yeah, so we're going to be talking about marketing to problem-aware people. And our solution is quite simple, and it's kind of an old solution.
Yeah, been around a long time.
But it kind of works. And that is really to write articles which talk about the problem, and that's where you get the problem keywords in. But then position hypnotherapy is the solution to that problem.
Yeah, and I think that this article marketing has been around for a long, long time, but not with this idea in mind. Again, people writing articles for the problem-aware people, so the solution-aware people, and not this way. And you've all heard, I would have thought, content is king.
Yeah.
It's the one guiding principle that works and has always worked with search engine optimization, even though it's dead. But in getting your site ranked well, and that is so important.
But although the article marketing idea has been around a long time, it's often been done completely wrong.
Yeah, very much so.
A lot of people just completely miss the mark with it. And that's because historically you'd write an article and then you'd post it to as many websites as you could find.
Yeah, that would take it. Yeah.
That would take it. So article directories and other people's websites. You know, the NCH lets you post articles up there as well, in the hope that people will read the article and then link through to your site.
Oh yeah, indeed. It used to just come to your site. Yeah,
or in the hope that people will come to your site, but also really in the hope that you pick up some extra search engine ranking juice.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was really what article marketing was about. But we're proposing a different, and our experience shows that a different slant really works a lot better, and that's posting them on your own website.
Yeah, I mean, because the bigger your website, the more pages you've got on it, the more content you've got on it, the more Google likes it.
Yeah.
The more important it thinks it is.
And I think it's really key, you know, there's a lot of focus with social media.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are doing that wrong as well. And I think that's a topic for another webinar. But the point there, the idea about tilling your own soil. A lot of people spend a lot of time focusing on generating content for other platforms like Facebook or Google+. Or building up their LinkedIn network. But what you're doing there is you're building up content on somebody else's property. You're tilling someone else's garden.
Indeed. And
the minute Facebook changed the rules, which they have done in the past, you know, there was a time where anything you posted went to everyone.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore. You know, there's
about 15% now that goes.
I don't know the exact percentages, but it's a fraction of your followers will get your information. Post to Facebook unless you boost it.
Yeah, which you pay for.
Which you've got to pay for.
Which you're not, you know, that may work, but
Well, it works, but you know, you're building up equity in someone else's property. You're tilling someone else's garden. So our idea here is really to start building up your own website as an authoritative source of information.
Yeah, which hopefully people will link to as well as read.
Yeah. Well, and that's our next bullet there. You know, when you do that, your website becomes the authority site, isn't it? In your area, you know, you start to position yourself locally as an expert.
Yeah, and I think that people want. How would you feel if you go to a website that's got 3 or 4 pages, talking about a couple of things, or a website that's got 50 pages, talking about a big expanse of areas or problems that hypnotherapy works with? How are you going to feel? Are you going to feel that the one with 3 or 4 pages is a better, more experienced hypnotherapist? Or are you going to feel the one with 50 pages is the better, more experienced hypnotherapist?
Well, that's right, because, you know, as you're putting yourself out there in your article, what you're essentially doing is giving people a feel for how much you know.
Indeed.
Yeah, and also showing that your website's alive and well, you know, alive and kicking. Some of these 3 or 4 page websites that never change, you don't know if the people are still in business. Even.
No, but the point is, this is not new information. You have the knowledge to do this. And that's the point. You have experienced many, many different types of problems that you've dealt with. And so it's nothing new to you. It's something you can produce.
And, you know, as you're seeing clients, you know, I always find clients are never any sort of surprise. You know, you can see 20 clients for the same issue and they all will be doing it differently. Yeah. So, you know, you're never at a loss for some ideas of stuff you can kind of comment on and write about your website. So, we're really proposing turning article marketing on its head and actually allowing your website to become the authority in the area.
Without a doubt, it is definitely the way forward.
And as we said on the slide, it gives you an opportunity to start building that trust and rapport with your potential clients. You know, they get to see and get an idea of who you are and what you know.
And how you're going to solve their problem.
That's
the point. And if you get that across, they'll buy into that idea.
Yeah.
People buy what you believe.
And of course, being hypnotherapy, hopefully you're in this business because you're passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
And the fact that it works so well.
Yeah.
So, you're writing about what you're passionate about.
And that's always comes across.
That really, people can pick that up.
Yeah.
People can sense that.
And so many clients come to us and say, "Oh, I read your article about this. I really rang true with me. I related to it really well. And I thought that if you did that for her, guess what? You can do it for me."
Yeah. So we're proposing that you start to think about writing articles on your website as a way of building up your website as an authority, building up the trust and rapport with other people, showing people that you're actively in business and you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then naturally you'll start to pick up some more inquiries just from your visitors. And hopefully also, as we'll talk about in a minute, having the bigger site with the problem-focused pages, you can start to rank for those problem keywords naturally without doing any false search engine optimization.
Exactly.
You're writing for human beings.
And you're writing passionately about something you know.
Yeah, for real people. You're not writing with a purpose of just boosting your rankings. And I think that's the key difference that Google's looking for. It focuses on the user experience.
Yeah, we just had a message come in from somebody saying, I don't like writing, blah, blah, blah. Don't panic, you guys. Just wait. We're going to explain all of this in a way that short circuits a lot of it. So just don't panic about that. Just bear with us. And
also we mentioned at the kickoff that we have an ebook.
Yeah, indeed.
We're going to
take you step by step through.
We'll talk through the steps to get you started in writing your own article. So so we've got the ebook after the webinar. Let's skip forward. So let's talk about some of the ways that you can start getting the inspiration to create your own stuff. And on the slide there I pulled up, and this may be grandmother sucking eggs for some of you, but Google Alerts are a great source, aren't they?
Very much so.
And it's something that we use a great deal. It's google.co.uk/alerts. And you can basically type in a search query that you want Google to tell you about.
Any news?
Yeah, that's right. And you can select different things, like the result type can be things like news or blog articles or things like that. But, I mean, we generally select everything and then we kind of sift through it. And there could be a lot of stuff. So
it can be, depending on the field as well. Sometimes I only do news only, because certainly local. For instance, if I set up a local one, like I might set up my local town, and then anything local coming in, you might want to do everything because there won't be that much data about your local town.
Yeah.
Whereas something like anxiety, for instance, there would be reams of stuff coming through every day. Yeah. So you might want to do only the top results or the new stuff just to keep you updated.
Absolutely. So generally, the recommended settings to start with is to have everything once a day and only the best results.
Yeah. Indeed.
And then you can fine tune it if you find you're getting overwhelmed with stuff. You can tune it down and edit the alert. You can set alerts up, delete them, edit them. And then Google will go away and every day will send you an alert to give you ideas, and then just sift through and see what...
And take inspiration.
And take some inspiration.
And it's completely free.
Yep.
Not a penny. Nothing. So that's a very good source.
So where else can we get ideas for writing articles? Well, one of the great places are on national press. And they have websites there like Mail Online, BBC... Even Google, you can select a news category in Google to search for news, and just search for some of these problem-aware things like stop smoking. So rather than, a lot of hypnotherapists I know already know about Google Alerts, but they'll tend to just say, tell me about hypnotherapy.
Yeah, the last thing you're interested in is hypnotherapy. That's not what you want to know, really.
It's kind of the means to an end. What we want to do is be searching for things like anxiety, stop smoking, lose weight. And find those stories. And, for things like stop smoking, lose weight, anxiety, there's generally quite a lot.
Yeah, anxiety, for news, you'll probably get, probably, I don't know, 2 dozen a day. And there's lots for you to choose from.
Yeah, so you just pick a story that interests you. And the way that we do it is to find a story that's hit the press that maybe people will be aware of, and to write a comment or your own slant based on that.
Yeah, you could just literally just copy the content, put a link to them, and then write your couple of paragraphs afterwards, which is totally valid. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Providing you're citing them as a source.
So, well, let's get into that.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the next takeaway. This is one of the things that we do, certainly with our AuthorMate project, is because we're creating articles on a regular basis for that. But in creating an article, there are some things you want to focus on, and really the key one is the headline.
Yeah, very important to have a good, exciting headline that excites the imagination of the reader.
Yeah. And also speaks to their problem.
Yeah.
You know, they're after a problem. They're problem-aware people.
Yeah.
They want answers to their questions. So really, you want to find a headline. You think about, if I was the problem-aware person, what would make me want to click that search result in Google?
Yeah. Something fixes anxiety, or anxiety problem solved by.
Yeah.
Anything like that sort of idea. It's got the actual
10
problem.
tips to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 great ways to solve anxiety. Or
5 things you should never do.
Yeah, that's always a good one.
So really find a headline that really excites people to want to know more, because these people are actively searching for an answer to their problem.
And we got lots of it in our ebook we talked about earlier. We're going to go through all of these in fairly big detail.
So then, taking the article from the news website that you found, you can effectively paraphrase the key ideas and the key messages in the article in your own words.
Yep.
Maybe pull out a couple of quotes. And the important thing here is that quoting is perfectly okay, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no problem with quoting as long as you link back to the original source. It's not an issue.
So, and actually, it's what the big news agencies are all doing.
Yeah, I mean, any news agency like Reuters puts out a news source, copies it verbatim, and just puts a link back to Reuters.
But they tagged that it was from Reuters.
Yeah, and that's
the way the news spreads. You know, that's.
But you don't get any Google juice from that.
No, but this is the point. We're not looking primarily for the Google juice. What we're looking for here is a good user experience.
Yeah, it is.
We're looking for people to be able to find your article, read about it, recognise that you're an authoritative source on the subject, that you know what you're talking about, and that actually hypnotherapy could be the solution to their problem. You want to switch them from problem-aware to solution.
Yeah. So you have the original article and then bring in your stuff.
And then bring in how hypnotherapy can help.
Yeah. I mean, you can even sort of look at you can look at several articles on the subject and write down the key points they're trying to get across, and you can do it that way as well. But you can literally cut and paste, put a link, and then add your content to the bottom of it, if you wish to.
So quoting's okay. Quoting's absolutely fine. You know, a lot of people worry about this idea of duplicate content in Google.
Yeah.
But actually, taking the model of the news agencies, it's perfectly acceptable to quote sections from articles as long as you link it.
Yeah.
Google has absolutely no problems with that. The important thing that you're adding is your comment and that positioning of hypnotherapy as being the solution to that problem.
Yeah.
So they say a picture speaks 1,000 words.
Yeah. It's got to be relevant, obviously, to the image, hasn't it? To the article. But there's many sources for images as well. You can get stock images, which are costing £1 a time, should you wish to. You can even get Google images, and you have to look for the ones that are free to use.
Yeah, that's right. You look for a royalty-free license or public domain. And you know, there are actually, even on the paid, websites like Photolia.com. We'll post a link to that.
Yeah, iStock Photo. Yeah. They're all about £1.
Yeah, that's right. You can pick up an image for about £1. And sometimes you can pick up an image from other sources, and all you've got to do is reference the source of the image. But an image is vitally important.
Yeah, it engages the reader, otherwise the reader just says, well, bank of text, it's all a bit too much. Put plenty of white space in as well. You know, have very short sentences, short paragraphs, lots of white space, make it look interesting and inviting.
Yeah, it's a really important point, because the idea here isn't to bamboozle people and show them how clever you are. And actually, I know that a lot of hypnotherapists are quite modest in that respect. We don't like to promote ourselves overly. But really what you want to do is have an article that speaks plainly as if you were having a conversation.
Yeah, very much so.
And actually that shows some of elements of your personality.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to write as though the person reading is a 6-year-old or something. That's the theory. So I managed to do that quite easily.
So, and another point there that you've mentioned the image having a caption.
Yeah.
And it's interesting in terms of psychology that people will read the caption
under
an image.
Yeah.
And I think it's to do with the way that as children we've grown up reading books with words underneath the pictures, and so we're sort of the idea is we're programmed to look under the caption, and so after the headline, the caption of an image is usually one of the first read things, and then they'll decide whether to dive into the detail of the article.
Always good having your keyword in there as well.
Yeah, so putting a caption under the image that maybe positions hypnotherapy or
together linked with it's like anchoring it almost, the hypnotherapy and the keyword or the problem. Exactly. Anchor it together. So
it's going to be relatively straightforward to do that, and especially one of our recommendations, if your website's not already powered by WordPress, it's an excellent option.
Makes it very easy to do all of this.
Yeah, it makes it really easy to put your own content on your website and to update it regularly. And finally, the final point there on the slide we've got there is having social buttons, the sort of Facebook like button and the Google Plus.
They're all very important,
and that really encourages and helps people to share your article. And that's really where you're going to get your search engine bonus there, rather than seeding out articles to lots of different places and hoping for links back.
I think it's quite also important, the whole ethos of Facebook and the like, is that I see many hypnotherapist websites pointing to their Facebook page, and that just doesn't make any sense to me at all. You should be using these social media sites to funnel people to your website, not the other way around.
Exactly.
Because once they hit Facebook, they get distracted in all sorts of things. And other people's advertising comes on.
Distracted by ads and what their friends are up to.
And all you need to do is create a web page, put it onto your Facebook, and actually just put the URL, the link at the top, into your Facebook page and share that. If you haven't got these buttons, then it's easy for you to do.
Well, it comes back to what we were saying earlier about gardening your own garden.
Indeed, yeah.
You want to bring people into your garden to admire your flowers.
And not theirs.
Rather than sending them off to Facebook or some other place.
And so, obviously, the side effect of this is that it gives the search engine exactly what they want.
Right. That's right. You're not chasing links.
No.
You're creating content for people.
Yeah.
Not for Google. And that's the key here, the key takeaway.
So you focus on the user, and the search engines will catch up.
Yeah. So let's flick on here. Just give you a quick example here. On the right there on the slide was a news article from BBC News: why more women die from heart disease than men. And on the left is the version of the article that we created for our Hypnotherapy site. It has a different image, and there's a caption on the image.
Yeah.
It's a strong headline: heart disease kills more women than men. And we've kind of paraphrased the ideas in the article and added our own slant to it. And at the end of it, we position our hypnotherapy programmers and our hypnotherapy practitioners as being the solution to some of the lifestyle issues that cause women to die early.
We'll put those links on.
I'll put the links on there, so you can have a look. And
they'll pop up in a minute, and you'll be able to see them.
Yeah, so you can check out the two articles after this call.
Yeah.
And see for yourself how we're doing it. And it really doesn't need to be that complicated, does it? It's very accessible to do this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, really what you're doing there then is casting a wide net.
Yeah, absolutely. And think of how many people are out there with all these different problems. You can see what we mean. It's like you're going to catch a lot more flies. Whereas before you had a static website, you might talk about weight control, smoking, anxiety and confidence. That's 4 pages. That's a very, very small net. Now, if you've got lots of different articles on lots of different things, you're catching a lot more flies. And it's all about a numbers game. It's all about getting more and more people coming to your website. Makes Google think you've got more and more knowledge, there's more and more information, which pushes you up higher, which means you get more people as well. So it's all about this sort of numbers game, driving more and more people.
And that's a key point, because a lot of us have on our websites already, we maybe have treatment-specific pages.
Yes.
Like a page for confidence.
Yep.
But the way that it's written, it's still mostly a solution-focused page.
Yeah.
It's talking about hypnotherapy for confidence and the confidence program that you may run. Whereas the articles, can talk much more about the problem in more general terms, and then begin to transition people to then go and look at your confidence page.
And typically in your article, you would drive people to your product pages or solution pages.
Yeah.
So you'd have a link in the bottom of your article to your solution page. So if you're writing one about confidence or sort of high blood pressure we just showed, what happens is at the bottom of that there'll be links into our hypnotension page, for instance.
Yeah, where they can go and find a practitioner.
Yeah.
So, and then what happens is if you write a dozen articles over a period of weeks and months about confidence, you've then got a much wider net, and different aspects of confidence.
Absolutely.
Presentation nerves, exam nerves, all these different kinds of things. You can really start to build up your website as that authoritative net.
Did we talk about the website that I've done this on as an experiment? Have we talked about that yet? No, we haven't, have we? So we took a website that had been around for 10 years and was completely dead.
Oh, I think we're going to get to that.
Are we going to get to it? Okay, fine, yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. Excuse me. I like to get ahead of myself.
I know. Well, just before we do that, we'll race through this because I'm aware that time is really chewing through it. Always, time flies when you're having fun. So, just a really quick recap there of where we got to so far. We believe SEO is dead.
Yep.
We believe that a focus on problem-aware people is really where you've got to be at in 2014 onwards.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
And the way to do that is to cast a wide net with a wide variety of topics, and the way to do that is by writing articles and putting them on your website.
Yeah.
And really then positioning you and your website as that authoritative source of valuable information and bringing people to you as a hub.
Yeah, making you the obvious expert.
Yeah.
So, if there's a if you're the local person dealing with depression, your website's got lots of stuff on there about depression, lots of different angles, lots of different thoughts. You become the obvious expert, and that's where you counter your opposition. Trounce them.
And that's where you start to attract that 80% of people who, to this day, at the moment, don't know that hypnotherapy is the answer they need.
Absolutely.
And it allows you to stop fighting over the scraps, doesn't it?
No, that's a very important message. And life becomes a lot easier when you stop fighting over the scraps.
But you were going to say
we talk
about this site. So here's the next slide. Paul, we'll have a chat about that because it's quite an exciting.
We took a site that had been dead not dead. It was an original site I had when I first started, and I really had done nothing with it. Probably in the last 6 or 7 years. It was a 10-year-old site, and it was bumping on the bottom, having 1 or 2 hits a day. And when we started the AuthorMate system, I was just, because it was nice and easy, I just take an article, pop it on the site, and I would do 1 a week. And I did that since October, and it was over 5 months. And now it's shooting up the rankings. I mean, and all I did, the only difference I made, and you can see.
Just looking at the graph here, I mean, this is a screenshot from the Google Analytics for that particular site. You can see that it covers a period of November to January last year to this year versus August to October. And the page views are up 833%. I mean, and amazing. People are really starting to engage in the content there. You can see that the bounce rate has gone down by 26. A bounce rate is where people visit the site and then disappear straight off without going to look for any other information. And interesting enough, it was quite surprising to me, certainly, is that the number of repeat visitors is up. People are coming back to the site. They're treating it more like a news resource and finding out more information. They're treating it like a resource to keep coming back to, rather than a lot of these people that will just turn up on the hypnotherapy website and take a look and disappear off.
Yeah, I think because I engage people on Facebook with it as well, they see one article on something and they quite enjoy that. And then I post another one up a few weeks later and, that was a good one, and they engage it that way. So I think that's probably part of the reason. But it's certainly, because you've got this big source of information resource, it's quite useful, really.
Yeah. And just finally there, the number of pages has doubled that people visit per visit. So people on average looking at 5.4 pages every time they come visit the site, whereas before they'd look at 2.
And certainly I'm now getting phone calls on that site, which I haven't done for years. But maybe the odd one. But now I'm getting 2 or 3 new inquiries a week from that site alone. which is not
And that's
bad.
no SEO, rubbish, no link building, anything like that.
I didn't even proofread the articles from AuthorMate. Nothing at all. I just literally cut and paste, popped them on.
Which is something we recommend.
Without a doubt, yeah. I mean, you should. And also, that's box standard as it came out of the box. So I put my slant on it. I've done absolutely nothing with them at all, just plonked them on, as it is. Just as a test, really, an experiment we did. And it's actually paying dividends.
Yeah. So
you can do the same.
You can do the same.
If your website isn't performing, by following what we're telling you today, you will get that same increase.
Yeah.
If you do it every week without fail, within 2 or 3 months you'll start to see that graph rise.
It's very doable.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
You're probably wondering if it's going to take a lot of time to do this, and it does. It does take a reasonable amount of time, but then that's why it's part of your marketing. It's part of why you're in business. Maybe 4 to 5 hours a month.
Yeah, I cheated, of course, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, well, of course,
we're talking about cheating.
You were using AuthorMate.
Yeah.
But if you're going to write these things yourself, it's not a huge overhead and time.
No, and even AuthorMate, if you do AuthorMate, if you're doing it properly, you've got to proofread the document, you've got to add your slant to it, put your comments in. Yeah. It's still going to take you probably do a month's worth of articles in maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is a good investment.
Yeah, or you write your own and it's 4, 5, 6 hours maybe. But it's not overly onerous. I mean, if you spend a day a month writing articles, it would transform your practice.
Without a doubt. And bear in mind, if you're not seeing that many clients, that should be well doable for you.
And of course, it's cheaper than spending hundreds of pounds on SEO that people are doing.
Well, the client recently, it was literally about to spend £450 on an SEO company, and when we looked in at what they were going to do, it was just nothing. Complete waste of money.
And of course, you never know when Google's next turn is going to...
Yeah. It's gone by the time Google is. Google doesn't happen straight away. You do get a benefit from lots of link building and stuff like that, but it's short-lived.
Yeah. So whereas with the articles, when you build that position and your website starts growing, Google naturally starts paying attention. It's just a fallout of the fact that you're doing this. You're not doing it with the aim of building a ranking, but you build a ranking organically. That's right.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't mean, like we said before, you're not fighting over the scraps of hypnotherapy in your town, and certainly you're not fighting and having to pay the big directories all that money in order to even rank.
And of course, your competitors have got a big hill to climb to beat you. That's an important fact. If you do this over the next few months, if you start building up 12, 15, 20 articles, anyone new or not on the ball coming into the game or suddenly start doing it is way behind you. You're way ahead.
You're always 15, 20 articles ahead.
At minimum.
It's a lead that's hard to retract once you get going, and you get into a pattern with it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Hypnotherapy, we used to do it every day. We were writing an article every single day in those days because we had to do press releases. We were doing press releases every day.
Well, that's where the idea of AuthorMate came from, wasn't it? Because we were spending a lot of time, with Hypnotherapy. Then we realised you only need to do it once a week to be effective.
Yeah.
And with Hypnotherapy, we were experimenting actually. And of course, with the pickup of AuthorMate, we were probably only doing one a month for Hypnotherapy. And that's still effective. That you can still get some traction there.
Yeah.
But we seem to find the optimism around once a week.
I do.
So if you're there we go. Just to recap what we've just been riffing about there, it is doable. Yeah, 1 article a week, 4 to 5 hours a month, and you've really got to do it. We believe it is so vital. Yeah. So vital. If you want to succeed,
do it or go out of business.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Or unless you want to be paying hundreds and hundreds of pounds every year to be in these various directions.
I've got ex-students that are spending £300-400 on Google AdWords and still not getting as much as I'm getting on that other side. Yeah. So, you can easily burn money with marketing, and this is the way you don't need to burn money.
Yeah, you're really self-sufficient. You're gardening, tilling your own soil, gardening your own soil.
And all you do, as you go forward over the years, the more you do it, the more powerful you become.
So, just to sort of wrap things up, it's very doable. It's only 4 to 5 hours a month, but I recognise that for some people that's still
a bit of an overhead. They're hypnotherapists, so some people are authors that don't like writing. they just don't want to do it, to be quite frank, and haven't got the time maybe. Because some people are doing their full-time job and doing hypnotherapy in their part-time, because until they build up the practice, they can't do it.
Yeah.
So it is a difficult for some people. Some people love it. Some people are born writers. I'm not. I'm awful. I'm dreadful at it, in fairness. But some people aren't. Don't like it. So that's where we recognised this was a pain. We recognised this was a pain point, that it was difficult. So we set about to solve it. I recognised this is a pain point for me. Yeah. So that's why we set out to do it.
Well, the reason to create the AuthorMate system was really about the fact that this is such a vital thing that we all need to be doing. And we would rather see people doing it, via a service than not doing it at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if all of us do this, if all of us get out there and write articles, and I'm not saying you need AuthorMate to do it, because you can just do it 4 to 5 hours a month. Please do get on and think about doing this in your practice. We all do it. The profession of hypnotherapy is really going to
benefit,
promote itself, organically. But
and you get a lot more clients, of course. That as a huge
absolutely, Well, we'd all get more clients. It's great. So anyway, if writing, spending that time isn't for you, then I have a quick slide there just to let you know about the AuthorMate service that we've got. It's totally optional, but it's a service that lets you choose 4 articles a month. We said 1 a week is optimal. So you can basically every month you can go in there, pick out your 4 articles, and if you've got something like WordPress, you can tee them up, can't you?
Yeah.
You can spend a couple of hours or an hour at the beginning of the month, grab your 4 articles, make the amendments you want to make to them.
That's exactly what I do. Yeah. I do it once a month. But at the beginning of the month I do 4 articles.
And then schedule them to drip out 1 a week using your WordPress system. It's really easy. Now, each of these articles, Paul, it's important to say that they're uniquely worded, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they're all unique. Every single article. I mean, we think that for being a unique article that you need to be 33% unique. And this is the advice we've had, and we've looked into this in great detail. And this may seem a difficult concept people understand this, but every article from AuthorMate is completely unique to around about 70% unique. It's the way we do the articles. We have a team of writers that create a lot of variation, and that's an important thing. And every single article we produce will pass what we call copyscape, which is a sort of a standard, if you like, that says that they are unique. So way over. 33% we're way over. So even if you change some words and put it back to one of the other articles, you're still going to be way over the required amount.
The important thing, though, is that they're created with human beings in mind. Aren't they? They're designed to be read.
Yeah.
Now, they need some of them, because of the way we blend them and create them uniquely. Some of them
they won't be perfect.
Yeah, aren't perfect. That's right. They need a little bit of the rough edges knocked off. But we really see it as a great starter for 10, or even a starter for 5.
I think it takes me around 10 minutes per article to polish them off. And that's it, really. And in that time, I'll put my own quote in. I can do 4 articles in an hour easily. Very easy.
So the service lets you pick these articles. The benefit is that it saves you the time of writing and researching your own articles. It saves you that kind of trawling through the Google alerts, finding the news articles, thinking about what the key messages are, how you're going to comment and address them. And of course, the articles are yours to use as you like, so you can put them on your website, you can post them to the local newspaper as a press release, you can do whatever you like with them.
Yeah.
And the service, as we've set it up, is normally £49 a month, which is about £12.25 an article, which is pretty
if it takes 2 hours to do an article, say, to produce an article, all the research and stuff, you're looking at £6 an hour is your value. One thing, before you move on, I don't know how far we are towards the end, but Steve sent a message in asking if we can actually sort of demonstrate how you would use it.
Yeah,
how long have you got enough time to do that?
I'll briefly flick into the system. There's AuthorMate. If I go into the members area, hopefully this will.
So this is what we'll do is we'll just show you how we put up an article. Now we're going to choose an article at random. What we got?
Yeah, so this is the article library, which is where you when you log in, you can see all the articles that
go a bit slower so people can see.
So you can see there's
postnatal depression.
Lots of different articles available. I've been using the service myself for a while, so I have a number of articles that I've already ordered. You can order 4 every month.
That top one, that should be quite interesting. The top one is actually aiming to promote your local town with hypnotherapy.
Yeah, actually, it's a good point, because we allow you in your profile to set up some personalisation. So you can see where it says your town here. When you actually go into the article, you see that it inserts the information that you put into your profile. So you get some degree of customisation straight out of the box.
So we can just copy that.
So yeah, you literally just do an edit copy, and then you paste it into whatever you're going to use.
Yeah.
A text document.
Yeah, okay.
So then you can edit it up and do what you like with it.
Or you could even just send it to your webmaster if you've got somebody looking after the site for you.
Absolutely right.
That tends to get costly. Ideally, you've got access to your own website, so you can do it for yourself. Let's.
Anyway, so we'll wrap this up, because I'm conscious that the time's moving on.
Yeah.
If it's something of interest to you, you can get a 30-day trial of AuthorMate. That trial lets you try out an article.
Yeah.
So just for your trouble, you can have an article to put on your website.
Yeah.
And we'll pop a link on there if anyone's interested. You can.
We haven't talked about the price though.
We haven't. Yeah. So as for this webinar, we've got 20 invitations available, and as a special for the webinar, we're going to discount it from $49 a month down to $28 a month, and that's a monthly fee, and it's a monthly ongoing discount. So as long as you keep it going, you get it for £28, which is 42% off.
It's very cheap, and
£7 an article.
£7 an article, and we've got, bear in mind that because of the nature of the service, we have a limited number of people, because obviously, we can't have thousands of hypnotherapists on there, because we just physically can't get that many unique articles out. We've got 20 available currently, and the way this works is once those 20 get filled up, we won't have any more available until we get people dropping out. But we are looking at upping our game a bit more, having more articles and stuff, and we're putting on anywhere between 6 new articles a month, so it's always growing all the time. And as we get more and more articles, we can allow more people in, because they're not all taken up. So that's the idea.
Yeah, so we will add places as we continue to scale up, but the scaling up is a very structured process, because we don't want the service to be overwhelmed. And we kind of want to make it a no-brainer, really. This stuff is so important that you just got to be doing it. Whether you do it through something like AuthorMate or whether you do it for yourself, you've really just got to do it.
Without a doubt, I mean, it's just a no-brainer, because this is one thing that stayed consistent with all the search engines. You're not going to get penalised for doing articles ever. Not in our guess anyway. We can't see how that would work. So I think it's what they want. They want good content, and you need to provide it on your website.
So I can see we've had a few private questions in. I think probably it would be best to make a video with some of these questions, because we've run well over the time. I hope you've enjoyed the webinar. I hope you've got some useful information from it. We'll pop the link up for the ebook and for the AuthorMate with the discount if you want to give that a go for 30 days risk-free and get the free article. And thank you very much for spending the time with us. We really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. First webinar. Yeah,
indeed. But don't forget, you need to start promoting hypnotherapy as a solution to these problems.
Yeah, that's right.
Really important, and that's what we want.
If you take away nothing else from this webinar, please take away, you need to be focusing on those problem-aware people, and really taking some time in your marketing to reach that 80% of people.
Yeah, and then you're going to find a big difference.
Okay. Well, thanks very much. We'll sign off now. I hope you've enjoyed it, and keep the questions coming in. We'll leave the chat box open. We'll collate the questions, and we'll come back with another video where I'll answer some of those questions. Okay, thanks.
Thanks very much. Bye now.